Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book It Vince, the wrestling dream match podcast on the internet. I'm one of your hosts, Martin Bennett, and with me, as always, is the Alabama Slammer, Anthony Hall.
Oh, it is me, the Alabama Slammer, Anthony Hall. Whose nickname was the Alabama Slammer?
The man who invented the move. Hardcore Holly.
I didn't know that, and now I do.
He invented the Alabama Slam.
Alabama Slam.
Which is one of my favorite moves in wrestling of all time because it's just so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and it's always brutal when it happens. I'm just like, holy damn.
It depends on how someone takes it. I mean, that's every wrestling move, but it's the fact that you're holding someone by their ankles over your back, and then you're throwing them over top of you so they land face first into the mat.
They splat. It should be called the Alabama Splat.
But anyways, welcome to another episode of Book It Vince. On this show, every single week we challenge each other to book dream matches that we wish were possible that may be or may not be ever possible. But if you do enjoy what we're doing here, please subscribe or follow the podcast on what other platform you get your podcasts on. We also have the video version on YouTube, and it's just a good time. And this week, Anthony has his dream match for us. So
yes,
Anthony,
let's
get right into it. And who are you booking for us today?
Today, we will be honorary members of Team Taz.
Oh.
And we will be booking a match between FTW champion Brian Cage,
the Machine,
against Batista. Yeah. Drax. That's me doing the Batista.
For miles inside this pit of danger.
That's me doing the Batista, the pyro.
Okay, that's sorry, audio listeners.
But video watchers of the podcast will appreciate the background that I put up, the FTW background.
So
and the pyro dance that we just
the Machine Brian Cage versus the Animal Batista. What was the inspiration for this one? You just want to see two big jack dudes?
Big dudes slapping meat is usually the inspiration for when we do two huge guys on the podcast. Yeah, so essentially I was like, I was thinking to myself, like, what is like a kind of like current dream match that I want to see that would kind of be possible? And I thought to myself, like, if Batista came to AEW for like a short run, he would for sure feud with Team Taz. And I was like, who does Team Taz have that could go against Batista? And I was like, oh, well, Powerhouse Will Hobbs would be great against Batista. But realistically, I want Batista to face the FTW champion, Brian Cage. Just these two monstrous dudes. I mean, I'm sure Batista isn't the wrestler that he once was, athletically and just like physically speaking. But Brian Cage is like super agile and just like pretty menacing. I think like those two guys, the big meat slapping level is crazy on this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, that is, yeah, that's like. By the way, if you're listening to this and you don't know what we're talking about when we talk about big men slapping meat, it's a quote from Big E coming from the New Day podcast, and it's this thing where they were asked, "What is your dream match?" And he said he wants to have a dream match against Goldberg. And his reasoning is, they start laughing and he starts joking around. His reasoning is, he's like, you want big men slapping meat. You want your 5-star matches? Nah. You want your work rate? Nah. Just pound for pound, big men.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're always talking about when big men slapping meat.
And it's just like, yeah, like it's just something really, really impressive about like two huge dudes moving at a rapid pace and just slamming into each other and
Goldberg
hurting
versus
each other.
Goldberg versus Lesnar. It's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Of just like, it's a 5-minute match. It's just about two super big, strong dudes just hitting powerful moves against each other. Boom.
But I see a little bit of longevity potentially in this match here with Brian Cage and Batista. It's not like, realistically, if this were booked in AEW like weeks from now, it would be probably a pretty quick match. Like, I don't know how hard Batista can go anymore. And like Brian Cage is kind of, he hasn't like done super long matches.
Yeah,
he's come off of injuries. So
you would hope that it would be like Batista in his prime, and he'd have a match against Ricky Starks. He'd have a match against Will Hobbs. He'd have a match against. You just destroy all of them. But maybe we shouldn't go in that direction. Maybe we should try to book this conservatively.
And try to do it semi-realistically. Yeah. So that when Tony Khan listens, he's like, hey, God damn.
Well, we all know that we all know Tony Khan listens to this podcast.
We all know he takes the time out of his busy day to listen to Book It Vince for inspiration.
He took our idea about having Hurricane show up in AEW. So
that's true.
So Tony, this one's we'll give you another taste, and then we'll talk about future deals. Anyways, okay. So
they don't even have writers in AEW.
Ideas.
They just need some ideas.
Idea men for the Sugar Man.
They need some idea guys.
Okay. Anyways, so you Batista current day comes back for another run. Tony Khan's offering up that big dollar.
I'm sure it would be because he's like promoting another movie he's in, like an I Spy, or maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 100 or whatever.
Right.
But also, like, he does other movies outside of the MCU, but it could be because of that he wants to be on TV and featured and whatnot, because he's doing like a big press run for a movie.
But so we have him coming back. What would then be the caveat to Team Taz kind of being... Team Taz just likes to kind of come out and just be like... Taz is just so good at running his mouth and being like, you don't know nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think...
Dude, you washed up. And it's like, Taz, you haven't had a match in goddamn fucking centuries. And you're telling other people suck?
Yeah. But I think the reason why I wanted to involve Team Taz, and specifically Brian Cage, is because with Taz, I'm not sure if Batista and Taz had that much interaction together when they're both in the company, the WWE.
Yeah,
but
I think by that point, Taz was on commentary. So
okay, but that's fine to have Taz see Batista and kind of watch moments in his career and stuff like that. But it's like a lot of criticizers of AEW will say like, oh, they bring in so many ex-WWE guys, like why not play into that? So we would have Batista sort of like originally booked like as a ratings draw. Like what's going on with Sting? Who knows? Like why do we keep mentioning Shaq? Like, okay, obviously we're just like TNT wants people to turn on their TVs and watch AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays. So why not get a big star? Let's say Batista is like, he needs to promote his movie, and like, WWE probably is not going to bring him back. Tony Khan just, throws a line of being like, hey, like, why not come to AEW and do a short run, and you can promote your movie, whatnot, get your face on TV. So he comes to AEW. He probably cuts a promo, and he's like, it's nice to play for the other team or whatnot. Or he or maybe he like doesn't address it in that direct of a way. Maybe he's just like, I was hungry to get back in the ring to prove myself, and this is a new proving ground. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it could even be, it could even be that thing of like, he's literally just there to promote. And he's like, maybe it's a thing of like, I came here because I'm here to promote this, but it's so nice to see all of this. Obviously, we're doing Batista as babyface. So it's it's so great to see all this new talent thriving, and I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed by people like, he lists some people off. He's like, I'm very impressed.
He lists everybody that's not on Team Taz.
Well, I kind of even think that even listing like Brian Cage, and maybe it's an offhanded remark where he's like, even though he's kind of using my gimmick, but
oh, that's funny. Oh yeah. That's actually really funny that he like is listing off people. He's like, oh, I'm so impressed by Jungle
Lance
Boy,
Archer,
Lance Archer, Kenny Omega, the Lucha Brothers, Joey Janela.
He's like, even guys like Brian Cage, even though he's kind of doing what I did, but not as good.
And that's when Team Taz Taz was probably on commentary actually, and he's like, "What is he saying?" And then that's when
and Taz is putting Batista over so much. He's just
Oh
man, I remember calling Batista's matches back in the day in WWE, like back in the day, and just seeing how incredible he went from being mid card dude. To rising to the top. It was so great. I have a lot of respect for him. And then he says that, he goes, what the fuck you talking about?
He's like, this guy was a monster. He's like, this guy was a monster. I'm telling you, there was pound for pound. This guy was the best athlete that I've ever seen. We're doing horrible impersonations of our favorite people here at Book It Vince, as always. And he's just like, oh, I'm so glad to see him. He's gonna wreck everybody here.
You don't talk about Brian Cage like that.
He's like, don't talk about Brian Cage like that. Like, are you serious? Are you joking? And then who could stop the path of Cage? And then Brian Cage comes out. Probably.
And it's this thing where it can even be like, it's then like, I'm doing what you did, but better. It's like it's like you were never in this good of shape. You were never this powerful. You're never this mean. Like,
but remember, Brian Cage doesn't cut promos because he's on Team Taz. And Team Taz.
Oh no,
Taz cuts all the promos.
Yeah, that's what Taz is doing.
So Taz takes like a handheld mic, walks to the ring with Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and then exactly what you were saying. He's like, what are you talking about, Batista? It's like, you were never in this good of shape. You weren't at the top of the game like Brian Cage. It's like you were in the gym. It's like you plateaued. He's like, you got to a certain level, but you're not where Brian Cage is. Where Brian Cage is going. It's like,
it's like you hit the top of the mountain.
Stupid in your head to think that.
Yeah, it's like Brian Cage. You hit the top of the mountain. Brian Cage hasn't even is at that point, and he's not even at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, it's like Brian Cage. He's at the nature store. He's buying all the supplies. He's about to begin his ascent on Mount Everest. He's like, Brian Cage is at Dick's Sporting Goods, loading up on outdoor survival gear, and he's getting ready to climb that mountain. and Batista's just like, why are you yelling at me?
Well, no, he can be like, well, this is where like you can give Batista a couple of moments or a couple of lines to fire back where he's like, well, it's good to see that. It's good. I don't know what the exact comeback would be, but it's something where it's just like, well, it's good to see that you can't stop running your mouth, Taz. Something like that.
Yeah.
You know, just making fun of him being a snarky loudmouth. And he said, maybe then Batista, you know, does the babyface thing where he's like, I don't want no trouble. You know, and I'm very impressed by what you're doing, but, you know, maybe it's just like I'm waiting for the day where you really prove how good you are. And even then maybe Batista goes, well, you prove how good you are and you detach yourself from these losers. And then that's where like Ricky Starks like takes offense, and like Ricky Starks grabs the mic and goes and calls him out. And then that's where like maybe Batista calls him like a knockoff Dwayne Johnson.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's what who do you think you are? It's like, do you know who you're talking to? Maybe do you know who you're talking to is a bit heelish. She's like, it's like, who do you think you are, man? And then like Powerhouse Will Hobbs probably like tries to get in Batista's face. He's like flexing up on him, and Batista's like, no, it's fine. I don't want to deal with you guys. And then Taz is probably like, what are you, scared? He's like, you're not how long has it been since you're the champion? You're looking at the FTW champ. Brian Cage.
Here's what would be cool. Will Hobbs steps up to him, and Batista's like, I'm not afraid of you. Will Hobbs slaps him.
No.
Oh no. Batista turns back, looks, and then just picks him up and just spine busters him.
Spine buster. Yeah. I think that's good. Like a big spine buster to Will Hobbs, and then Ricky Starks probably comes in to fly in and to
Batista gets out of the ring, backpedals.
Or I think Batista will hit Ricky Starks and knock him down too.
Okay.
But then the last line of defense, the main course of Team Taz, is Brian Cage, right? He's the FTW champion. And I think he would get a hit on Batista and like kind of like stun him a bit, and then Batista would slide out of the ring, and they wouldn't like, because if you make it so that the whole Team Taz gets flattened by Batista, then it's like, oh.
Well, what if like Brian Cage is about to go in, but then Taz holds him back?
Yes.
And he's like,
I like that.
And maybe he gets on the microphone one last time. He's like, oh, we're not done here. We're not done here.
We're not done here.
We're not done here.
You think this is over?
And then later in the night, I think then you have a backstage thing with Team Taz where like Taz says like, I talked to Tony Khan.
I talked to Tony Khan.
And if Batista's not chicken shit enough, he'll come out next week and face Ricky Starks.
Will Hobbs.
Or Will Hobbs. Like what I'm thinking is that Batista doesn't face him. What I'm thinking is this is like, if he's not chicken shit enough, he'll come out next week and face either Will Hobbs or Ricky Starks, either or. But what I'm thinking is then the following week, Team Taz comes out and they're waiting for Batista. Batista comes out, but he says, I'm not going to fight you. I talked to Tony Khan. You're not the only one that can talk to Tony Khan. I talked to him.
Give me what I want.
I talked to him, and I'm not officially cleared for action. Obviously later we'll like change that or whatever. But like he says, like, I'm not cleared insurance wise for a match. But he allowed me to pick someone to go in my place. And he picks someone from the roster to like put over, you know. Maybe it's
So if it's against Ricky Starks, no, it should be against Will Hobbs, because Will Hobbs is the one who slapped Batista.
Yeah.
But since he's not cleared, who does he choose that would face Will Hobbs? That's a face.
Yeah, that's what
that you could theoretically align with Brian or Batista. Who would it be?
This just makes me really can't wait for Wardlow to go on his face singles run. Because that would be great. If Wardlow was finally detaches himself from MJF and he's doing his singles face run like everybody wants him to. Even though last night he came out and he was such a heel. Even though last night he came out and he was such a heel, but I think it's still just the connection to MJF, which is probably why. But imagine that, and he just who is the guy that you list the guys that Batista would probably pick. He wants a big dude.
Yeah.
And it's you got Hager, you got Wardlow, you got Archer, you got
yeah, there's
not too many.
The big guys is okay. Hear me out on this one. Maybe it's Miro.
Oh,
because
Miro would be good.
Yeah, because maybe they can justify some sort of history between Miro and Batista. So then we can break up. Let's say this wedding stuff with Kip Sabian and shit is over. It's done. It's in the past. So now Miro's we don't know where exactly he's going.
Right. Okay.
So he's we picked I picked somebody who can fill my shoes for tonight. Somebody who I know is a beast.
Game over.
Yeah. So the Miro comes out to face Will Hobbs, and I think Miro has to lose. I think Miro has to lose,
right?
Because Team Taz.
Yeah.
So,
some shenanigans.
Yeah, and I think
Still
the
would be
way
a really good match.
Yeah, I think it's a really good match. Maybe it's Ricky Starks does some fucking bullshit to distract the ref, and Will Hobbs pins Miro, and then they're beating him down a little bit, and Batista, even though he's not cleared, he slides in the ring to.
Well, it definitely has to. The finish definitely has to come to maybe someone does something to Batista. Could be a distraction to Miro. Or a distraction to the ref, and then someone comes in and does something, maybe slides him the FTW championship, hits Miro with it.
I think Ricky Starks distracting the ref is a good idea, and then maybe it's maybe Will Hobbs Irish whips fucking Miro into towards the rope, and Brian Cage takes the FTW title, climbs up and just smacks Miro right in the face with it. And then what is Will Hobbs' finisher? It's not a spinebuster, is it? Because if it was, that would kind of a little bit.
Let's see.
Could be good.
We'll go to our good friends at Pro Wrestling Fandom. Which has all of the great information, which I love. Let's see. No current finishing moves listed, but signature moves: Spinebuster and Power Slam.
Yes.
Which are basically, that's Batista. Literally, Batista's moves are a Spinebuster and then the Batista Bomb, which is a sit-down power slam.
Yeah. So that works out perfectly, as things do. Sometimes they align perfectly here at Book and Vince.
He throws him in. He Irish whips him
into the rope or whatever, and Brian Cage comes up and smacks him with the FTW type. Ooh. And then he just hits him with a spine buster. What an ultimate disrespect to beat the person that Batista handpicked.
But
what he did? You're waving your finger.
I'm trying to get your attention. But what if then it comes back and what if Will Hobbs does the Batista bomb, and he gets him into the position to do it, and he does the thumbs down, picks him up, Batista bomb slams, pin 1, 2, 3, and then And then they're beating him up. They're beating up Miro, and that's where Batista comes in. Do they just run away, or?
I think they run away.
Okay.
I think they have to. So, God damn, the setting up the Batista bomb is pretty funny. It's like
just disrespect.
Well,
just a sign of disrespect.
I think he hits him with a spine buster, and then you think that's going to be over. But then he does that, the shitty heel thing where it's like the match could be over here, but they don't pin him, and he just picks him back up so they can do more damage. So he hits him with a spine buster. He could pin him. Powerhouse, Will Hobbs could end this match right now, taking out Batista's guy that he's picked out for tonight. But then he puts him in the Batista bomb thing, and he does like the or whatever
thumbs down,
the full taunt and everything, and that's when it's like, oh, Batista's had enough. He doesn't want to see this shit. He slides in, and everyone's like, whoa, no. They scuttle away. That's nice. I like that.
At least then you can have Batista like pick up Miro and like raise his hand, get some good rub off on that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, technically,
you lost, but like you didn't really lose because it was dirty and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but And then you still have like Miro going over with Batista, and so I think that's good.
They're teaming up. Okay, so then the following week, I think Taz has to keep trying to goad Batista into getting into the ring for a match.
I think you don't have Batista show up. I think then the next week is, it's just Taz goading him and them cutting promos on him. And enough to then enrage him where he like shows up and does something.
Oh, okay.
But
maybe not in the same week though, right? Because because he's a busy man. He has to promote his movie. So he has no time to be on Dynamite every single week. So yeah, it's a week after the shenanigans of the Will Hobbs match. And Taz is cutting promo. He's like, you're scared, not medically cleared. That's bullshit if I ever heard it. Those are bullshit excuses. You're scared to step in the ring with a real animal.
Yeah.
A real animal, a machine like Brian Cage, a specimen, somebody you wish you were. And yeah, that's enough, I think, to annoy Batista enough to come back the following week. But now I'm not sure how exactly.
I think then what you could do
come back
is you could have that happen that same night where they cut a promo on Batista. Miro does a backstage interview segment where he calls out Brian Cage. He goes, "You're going to hit me from behind." Instead of if what Taz says about you of you're the next big thing, why don't you face me like a man? Instead of trying to hit me from behind, you try to hit me from in front or whatever. Miro's really good about like making like dumb jokey like promo things where he's like, instead of you hitting me from behind, why don't you hit me from in front or whatever? I don't know.
Hit me from the front.
Yeah.
Instead of hitting me from the back, why don't you hit me from the front?
Yeah, something like that. And he's like, and he calls him a coward or something like that. And then that sets up a match for the next week where it's Miro and Brian Cage. And in that match, Batista could come back somehow.
I think just just to like support, Miro, because if he interferes and stuff, that's too heelish, I think.
No, not interfere. I think maybe it's a thing where like Miro loses, or maybe it's a disqualification. I think that. I mean, AEW doesn't book those as much as our friends at WWE, but shenanigans are allowed. But yeah, maybe. It's true. Like Brian Cage is better than Miro in terms of like how they've built these people up, right? So if this is a match, the best man versus the machine is going to win. I'm just thinking then it's a beatdown on Miro, and then that's where Batista comes back and
comes in. Yeah.
And that's where he fucking. I think Ricky Starks is then the perfect person to put over Batista as like the badass that he is, and have him give Ricky Starks the Batista bomb and make it look horrible, make it look so deadly. Because
I think it's both. Yeah. I think Brian Cage will beat Miro. I actually like maybe positioning Batista on commentary, because Taz would be on commentary as well, probably. Maybe. There's a chance, right? So they would be, going at each other.
I kind of want to see Batista do a run-in. Like, that's what I kind of want. Because it's like, he came in, it kind of looks like he was here for that thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's that he was here for that thing.
Because he hasn't been seen since he...
Yeah, like he takes a week off and we don't hear anything from him.
Right.
But then it's just like, and then he suddenly shows up, and then that sets up what's going to be the match. And so it's like,
correct.
It's like he shows up for a special appearance. He shows up the next week to bring out Miro to support him. The week after that's just like a story building segment. The week after that is then Miro versus Brian Cage. And in that time, that's where then Batista makes a run in. No one expects it.
Yeah.
And
I think he hits the spine buster on Will Hobbs because Will Hobbs did the spine buster. But then he can't just like pick him up and do the Batista bomb. It will look way more devastating if Ricky Starks takes it, because he puts Ricky Starks in it, does the hits him with the Batista bomb. And then it's like, whoa, okay.
If you wanted like true crazy cool fashion, you'd have to have like, he does the Batista bomb, he rolls out of it, he gets up, he grabs the ropes, he starts going crazy, and then he starts.
Where's Brian Cage in all of this though? Because
I think he comes in. I think Batista comes in with like a weapon of some kind. Maybe
a chair?
Chair is so easy. I'm starting to hate chairs.
The chair? I hate
chairs. Fuck chairs.
Okay. What?
I'm thinking like, I don't know. A chair is really easy. Chair is just such an easy like. Well, they're everywhere. Just grab a chair.
Are everywhere.
Just grab a chair.
Chairs.
I want to see more. I want to see more like lead pipes and crowbars.
Would a face bring in a lead pipe into a run-in?
No, he'd bring in a chair.
Exactly. Chairs are everywhere.
But
okay, so maybe he runs down because the match is over, right? Because Brian Cage realistically hits the drill claw on Miro and pins him 1, 2, 3, and then the rest of Team Taz is pop, 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 pop. So he comes in with the chair, maybe he smacks Brian Cage so that he's at least like out of the question briefly. I know we said like we shouldn't have Batista bury all of Team Taz, but for this specific scenario, we need him to destroy them all.
I think,
and a weapon is not necessarily burying. Like
I think then what should happen is that then Brian Cage runs out. Will Hobbs tries to go for Batista, ducks under. Batista hits Will Hobbs with a chair, kind of the equalizer.
Oh, okay. The chair again.
And it's that way it's not like a burial. It's not like he gives him another spine buster.
Right.
It's like he hits him with a chair, Will Hobbs rolls out. Ricky Starks thinks, oh, I'm he's what's the word? Overconfident enough to think I can take on Batista, former multiple time world champion.
Yes.
And so then he swings at him, and then that's where Batista gives him the Batista bomb.
Shoves him in the crotch, thumbs down.
Yeah. The rest of Team Taz is on the stage. He puts him there. He's staring at him. They got the cameras in awesome position so that you can see him staring at Taz and Brian Cage on there. And then he just gives them the thumbs down. They're reacting. They're going, no. And then that's where he picks him up and fucking slams him.
Yeah. And then he goes up to the rope to that hard cam and just
Yeah, and then just stands up on the corner, just looking down, and then the commentary team can say something like, "It looks like business isn't finished between Team Taz and Batista."
Yeah,
and then that's where that's where then maybe the week after, Batista comes out, cuts a promo, and maybe that's where he sets up where he's like, maybe it's a unofficial match. I'm not thinking a lights out match. I'm thinking just like maybe an unofficial,
like it's unsanctioned.
Yeah, an unsanctioned but regular wrestling match.
Yeah, an unsanctioned match between him and Brian Cage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where Batista can say like, it looks like you guys aren't gonna leave me alone until we settle this, until we prove who is the true animal. Like, you know.
Or yeah.
And it seems like the only way to get this through your thick skulls is from, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. Looks like I'm gonna have to stoop down to your level, boys.
Yeah.
If you want some, fine, come get some.
Brian Cage, give me what I want. Give me what I want. You know what I want. Give me what I want.
Give me what I want. It's such a weird.
Maybe he can give me what I want after the match, because I think what Batista will want, because it's funny, is the FTW championship.
Give me what I want.
Because Taz, like, he puts so much importance on this title, right?
Yeah.
FTW championship.
If you don't know what we're talking about, by the way, the give me what I want, it's when Batista came back to WWE for his final run to face Triple H at WrestleMania 35. And there's this whole segment where fucking Batista wants a match with Triple H, and he's just standing on the ramp, and Triple H is in the ring, and Batista's just shouting out, spitting, "Give me what I want.
Give me, you know what I want. Give me what I want.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want."
Yes. Yes. So I think, okay, this unsanctioned match, I don't think it really even goes. Like, I think they get some moves off on each other or whatnot. But I don't think it ends properly, because we have to set up like a real match between Brian Cage and Batista.
Oh, okay.
But like we've done a couple of non-finishes in this feud already. So I don't know how exactly to progress.
Oh,
here.
I figured that like that gives the reason as to why like he can't really wrestle, but he finally says like, fine, I'll fight you, but it's gonna be an unsanctioned match or whatever. Okay. But if you want it to be like an official, like actual match, then we can just have it be that instead.
I think the unsanctioned match should be booked, but I don't think it happens, because I think Batista gets ambushed by Team Taz.
Okay.
And then it sets up Batista being able to give me what I want to Taz. Because if we set up that this match is about to happen and then it doesn't, then it's like, oh, well then,
so
is Team Taz, is Taz like really confident in Brian Cage?
So I guess, well, here's the okay, I like that. Here's the question though, psychologically, coming from the perspective of Team Taz. You know, we're gonna let's get deep into this and psychologicals. The psychology of the, you know, evil team. So why is it they stop the match from happening? What is the is say them attacking him because of what happened when he came out to defend Miro, or he came out and he attacked them? Is them just beating the crap out of them like justified in terms of like, because if say he, you know, Batista says, we're gonna have an unsanctioned match, Tony Khan has allowed me to have one match with you so we can prove finally once and for all who the bigger man is.
Yeah.
isn't that justified enough for Team Taz to be like, all right, fine, we got what we wanted?
Yes, but since Batista did that run-in and he embarrassed Team Taz, Taz is like, no, we're not going to give Batista what he wants to have this match with Brian Cage to prove.
There's the good moment. There's the moment of they come out and they ambush him, and then Taz on the microphone goes, "We aren't going to give you what you want," and that's the callback.
Yeah,
like, hey.
Yeah, we're not going to give you what you want. We're not just going to give you some match after you embarrassed us, or after you disrespect. Not embarrassed, because Taz would never bury his talent like that. He would say, after you embarrassed us.
Yeah, you
disrespected us. So that's why the match doesn't actually happen, because since it's unsanctioned, there's no rules and shit. So like before the bell can even ring, they're in, like, Brian Cage and Batista are in the ring together. Like, I think you're like, oh, it's really gonna fucking happen, isn't it? But then you get the run in. Like, Will Hobbs will maybe chairs are everywhere. Smack.
Does Batista even get to do his intro?
Oh no, he doesn't. That makes sense, because if Brian Cage
comes out,
is in the ring, has the bell,
comes out, he's about to do that.
Yeah, this is for the video.
Comes out, he's about to do the machine gun thing, and then gets sidelined. Gets
just smacked. Let's get some kendo sticks in there, because since chairs are everywhere, let's use some more weapons. Ricky Starks, because he got hit with the Batista bomb, his feelings are hurt. His ego was a little bit wounded. So he has the kendo stick and he just smacks Batista in the back, and Will Hobbs probably like takes out Batista. They're beating him down and they throw him in the ring. Yes.
Should the final match be Brian Cage versus Batista, or should it be a redemption for Miro, and it's Batista and Miro versus Brian Cage and Will Hobbs? That way it helps, because we said we want to be realistic.
Yeah. But I think that match could set up the final match. I think, like, because we need something in between this and the actual big match happening.
Batista, Miro versus Ricky Starks, Will Hobbs. Batista and Miro win.
Yeah, but that's after what we're booking right now, which is the unsanctioned match not happening, and the beatdown. Ricky Starks smack with the kendo stick. You hurt me, and and Hobbs, like, bodying Batista and then throwing him into the ring. Yeah. And then I think Brian Cage. Oh, maybe the unsanctioned match does happen, because after he gets beaten, after he gets beaten up, like, Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks would throw Batista in the ring, and Taz would be like, ring the bell. And then Brian Cage gets to look strong here, and he hits the drill claw, the Plex driver, on Batista and pins him. And it's like, oh, well, Brian Cage won.
Yeah.
That's what Taz thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Batista
they probably beat the crap out of Batista.
And Miro runs in.
Miro
can do the run in here, just to stop the beatdown from happening further.
This can be worked out on commentary, where you have, like, he won, but it's like, it's Brian Cage won. It's like, but did he really win? Yeah, it's that sort of battle. Like, did he actually really win this? Like, it
was not a fair fight.
JR can say something like, yeah, it wasn't a fair fight, or it's, I don't know. It's so hard to call JR lines.
Yeah, and because he's such a wild card. But, like, I think Shivani and Excalibur are probably like, is this what you wanted, Taz? Like, this is not the right way to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, that sets up our following week Dynamite match, which is Miro and Batista versus Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks. and that's the redemption for Miro, and Miro and Batista do win that.
Maybe it's a thing where it's like, I don't want to get too over booky, but maybe it's a thing where it's like, Batista, because the initial thing was like Batista can't be in a match, like, and maybe it then comes out where it's like Batista's like, if me and Miro beat your guys tonight, then me one-on-one with Brian Cage for the FTW title.
But then why would Taz accept that?
Why would they accept that?
Or because they've already won, technically.
You make a good point.
So could it be?
Make a good point. Why would they accept it? It'd be dumb to accept that.
Because they'd have. Okay, could it be?
I mean, you could just have it be announced that if that happens, and Taz says, "This is stupid. Why is this happening?" Like, it's not even a choice to him. It's just like, it's a deal that like the EVPs have made with Batista, where they say like, oh yeah, if you as a team can go out and beat Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs, then yeah, we'll give you a shot. He'll have to put it up, and that's where then Taz is like, how do you haven't even acknowledged this title or given it the respect it deserves, and now you're putting it up you're saying we have to put it up in a match.
But I think to entice Taz and Team Taz to agree to put up the FTW title, it's that if Brian Cage beats Batista, he'll have a chance to unify the TNT title and the FTW title. So that would give the FTW title like legitimacy, right? Like if Brian Cage can beat Batista, he gets a shot at the TNT title, and then if he wins the TNT title, the FTW title replaces it.
So before we get to the end, let's say who's is going to go over, because if we're putting that stake on the line of like, if Brian Cage wins, AEW will acknowledge the FTW championship,
the legitimacy of it. Yeah.
So, but is then Brian Cage winning? Or is
no? Okay, I don't think he does.
Okay, Batista win. Okay,
I don't think he does, because that's the thing because we're saying like, why would Taz agree to this? Because they've already won that unsanctioned match. Brian Cage is better than Batista, but if Batista brokered maybe it's not that it unifies with the TNT title. Batista says to Tony Khan and the EVPs that if he wrestles with Brian Cage and he loses, the FTW should be recognized as a legitimate championship. But if he wins, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, Taz gets what he wants. Wants. Give me what I want. Legitimacy of the FTW title. So like that's what it is.
Like that. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I like that.
Because he's like, because Taz would be like, why would I agree to this? We already beat you. Like, why would we waste our time on some has-been that can't even compete? Didn't even get a move in on Brian Cage.
It's too old.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the chops anymore. Lost his touch.
Batista says, I talked to Tony. I'm cleared for one match. One singles match here in Dynamite in AEW. And if Brian Cage can beat me, Tony says that the FTW title becomes legitimate. Is going to be recognized by the company as a legitimate title. And Taz says, bring it on.
Yep. You're on, Batista.
You're on. I'm tired of you flapping your gums.
You're going to get your ass whooped by the machine.
Brian Cage. Nice. And then Hook Taz comes in and does a flying suplex. No.
Out of nowhere.
Hook Taz.
I like that. I think that's a really good motivation. And
I think to build up this match, for the legitimacy of the FTW championship, we got to throw some fun stuff in here because Batista's been in movies and Brian Cage allegedly has also done some acting. Ricky Starks has many talents as a wrestler, but also as like a video producer guy as well. I think he could like cut together like a package of like Brian Cage, like flex with the title. They're like showing the FTW title as all this like the super legitimate title.
Well,
he
they
like, cuts together like the history of the FTW title. I think they even probably do like some segments like, on Dark.
Well, I mean, like you have. I just want to see who all has held the championship. Let's take a look. That is...
Wasn't it just like Taz and Sabu and Raven? Oh God.
All right.
So Taz and Raven.
Taz. Sabu. Taz.
Yes.
Unified it to the ECW championship.
Right.
Brian Cage. Taz twice, and then Brian Cage. And Sabu once. I was thinking like, oh, why don't they do this like actual like why don't they probably wouldn't be able to get the rights to ECW because WWE owns it, but like I'm sure that they could find a way. Something where they like do a promo where Taz actually explains like what the meaning behind the title is. But then as soon as I looked at it, like, what would they talk about? Taz held it, Sabu held it for like, it said 90 days, and then that was it. And then it's Brian Cage. It's like, But maybe they just they might just overhype Brian Cage.
Yeah, and I think Taz, like, it's so important to him and his legacy that he wants it legitimized so hard that he talks about like what FTW means, like why it's important that it's recognized as a legitimate title, because it's like this is not a title for like the people. It's not a corporate title. This title means like
it's not for glory. It's not for
it's to demonstrate like the badassery of this man. Like this is a title that recognizes the most dangerous son of a bitch in this company and stuff like that. So it's like he really is like beefing up this title so that like if Brian Cage gets it legitimized, then it's like, well, Brian Cage is the fucking badass. He is the biggest, baddest dude. And that's and I think like there's some
and then we dash his hopes and dreams.
We crush it with like we absolutely crush this man with.
Well, no, I think it's just Taz needs something to complain about every week.
Right. So I think maybe it's going to be a good match. It's going to be very athletic. Yeah. So we land at this match, which is to legitimize the FTW title between Batista and Brian Cage, and we're gonna see a lot of like meaty slaps, big hits. Brian Cage is really agile, so he could like probably do like even a splash off the top rope, or like you probably get a huge drop kicking on Batista. But damn, it would be really exciting to watch. A really crazy match.
I'm just trying to think back to the match that Batista had with Triple H at WrestleMania 35. I'm trying to remember what other moves Batista had. So I remember watching him when he had his title reigns back in the early 2000s or like mid 2000s. Just trying to remember his move set. Because obviously he has the spine buster, the most devastating spine buster ever. Batista bomb.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember his other moves. I think he was just a big dude, so it was just big dude moves. Just power slams. Just because I don't remember if he did any like submissions. Or if he did any Yeah, I'm just trying to remember his other movesets. It's been a while since I've seen a Batista match, and honestly, I don't super remember the Triple H match because it was so long. It's like a 35-minute match where they just start hitting each other with stuff. It could have been a 10-minute match, but they decided to drag it out super long. But like, I can just imagine Batista, like, you know, I think you would have Brian Cage dominating most of the time. Then you have Batista come back a little bit. Then Brian Cage looks like he's going to pick it up. And then Batista, when you least expect it, manages to pull out the Batista bomb.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of Batista's signature moves. And it's like big boot, elevated single leg Boston Crab as Leviathan.
Ooh.
Hammerlock, armbar, multiple turnbuckle thrusts, running clothesline, shoulder block, spear.
Oh, yeah, spears, yeah.
Two-handed choke lift. Spinebuster. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Big dude moves. Big dude moves.
Yeah, big dude moves. Yeah, I think Batista gets a comeback sequence where he maybe spears Brian Cage, and then hits some multiple turnbuckle thrusts. We get the two-handed choke lift. Boom. Maybe Brian Cage no-sells a spinebuster. That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah,
he
that'd be
gets
interesting.
hit with it, and he's just like, oh, yeah. And then he has to get into the Batista bomb, and I think Batista looks right at Taz. Boom.
Yeah.
Hits him with the Batista bomb. The FTW title, not legitimate.
Not legitimate, but Brian Cage is still
Not legitimate.
the FTW champion.
Yes. Yeah. The title is not on the line. It's just the legitimacy that is on the line.
Yeah.
And that's
I mean, yeah, just bringing Batista back in for a good run. He's, you know, you're not devaluing Team Taz. You're putting them over in defeat.
Yeah.
Just showing how powerful they are.
And to give Taz something to complain about.
Yeah. Because that's what he needs in life. He needs something to complain about. Right now it's Sting.
Yeah.
You know, right now it's Sting and Darby Allin. But
Darby.
But yeah, no, I like the idea of like, well, Batista's always just a great crowd pop. And to have him come in just to rub shoulders with some of the younger talent and help put them over, even though it is like, we don't want to make Batista lose. We want to, you know, give him a good show, let it be fan service-y, which is always good from time to time. But it doesn't, it makes them look powerful, but it's Batista, come on. You know, that's sort of like, really it's like FTW it's Team Taz is really strong. No, is really powerful. They're going to do big things someday. At the end of the day, it's Batista, and come on. You know, multiple-time world champion. He's going to win.
Movie star. Drax.
Go see him in I Spy 4.
4. That's why he's here, to promote I Spy 4.
But I like it. I liked it.
Yeah, that's it.
So then I guess what we'll say is, let us know if there's a dream match that you want to see Batista come back for one last time. Let us know in the comments or online about that. Now we're going to get into the end of the podcast by doing our question of the week and our match recommendation. For our question, of course, as always, we post online about when we're looking for questions, but you can also at any time go and submit a question to our website, unknownerrorfilms.com/bookevents. Go there, submit your question, check out all the episodes, all of our match recommendations are on there, and send us some questions because we love those good, wacky, weird ones and some serious ones. Like today's episode is kind of like not really a super serious one, but it's a fun one. And the question is, who do you think should be put into a stable right now? Or I guess to kind of fix the wording on that is like, which superstars do you want to see in a stable?
Yeah. Huh. Very interesting.
I mean, it's already sort of becoming like a or it already is a stable, but it's the bloodline. Roman Reigns, head of the table, tribal chief. I just want to see that. Chief. I kind of want to see that be built up a bit more.
Yeah.
Even though I don't really think it's getting there, but I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to see. I don't know how long Jimmy Uso is still on the shelf for, but I kind of want to see him come back. And I also kind of want to see Nia Jax move over to SmackDown to join the Bloodline, because she's a part of that too. Same with Tamina. Tamina is also a part of it.
Right.
But like building that up so then it can just be smacked down by the Great One himself. Because we all know The Rock is coming back to face Roman Reigns. I mean, that's just a fact. And if that doesn't happen, then why'd you do this for why?
Let's see who really is the head of the table.
but like to make them like a super powerful stable, and like I think then it could also legitimize like the whole time like Jay, it's this back and forth of like, should you listen to Roman? Shouldn't you listen to Roman? Does he really have your back? Does he really care about you? Blah, 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 blah. But like, then bringing in like, say, Nia Jax as like an enforcer, where it's like, she just truly believes what Roman is saying. And Roman doesn't talk down to her at all, just orders her around. And then maybe Nia like screws up one time, and then you get this really good promo of like Roman just laying into Nia, but like, and that helps just like sell Roman as like the asshole, like heel that he really is. Because it's like, you don't want to put out there like him. You don't want Roman to do to someone like Nia what he's been doing to Jay. But like, imagine she becomes like a super yes man to Roman. But then like she screws up one time, and then that's where you kind of get some sympathy for Nia, and you really start hating Roman because he like lays into her like telling her that she fucked up and like all that. Like that could be really cool, like building up that stable to like truly take over SmackDown.
That'd be cool. Okay, mine. This is pretty tough. I mean, Aleister Black's not really doing much right now. Why don't you put him with somebody who's very similar? Damian Priest.
Oh yeah,
they could do like some like weird gothic bad boy thing. I don't really know who else would join that stable per se, but like
the Riot Squad.
Oh, just tattooed baddies.
Shotzi.
Tattooed. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just take all like the tattooed like goth people.
It's like it's just like mean goths. Yeah. Shotzi and the Riot Squad and Aleister and Damian Priest, like that'd be pretty cool, I think. I don't know what they would be called. They seem like they'd probably be vampires. No, but it would be cool to have them as a bit of a demonic outfit.
Maybe you could bring back, or no, maybe that's way too much. It's like I was about to say, maybe bring back the Ministry of Darkness. But yeah, maybe no. It doesn't really fit what the Riot Squad and Shotzi are doing. So
yeah. But if they if they wanted to make them more of a threat, I mean, like, I love the Riot Squad and they're great, but to legitimize them and make them a bit more dangerous would be cool, and to give Damian Priest a friend and just a team, a supportive system. And like maybe Shotzi's not involved with this, but if she is, like, it would be cool to also like make her a bit more dangerous instead of just like being like girl with tank.
Yep. I got another one for you. This isn't really like making a new stable, but like just adding to a stable. Andrade joining Legado del Fantasma.
Oh, yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah. That like, I think like that gives a lot of potential to a storyline or storylines with Legado del Fantasma, where like maybe there's a power struggle because he's like Andrade's still a pretty big star, right? So
yeah, and I hope that Andrade, and then even having Andrade and I always mess up his name, the like leader.
Escobar.
Escobar, yeah. Having them team up and like maybe go for the tag titles, and like maybe it's just helping to get Andrade closer to going back to the NXT title. I don't know, but that'd be kind of cool. Very good, cool.
Yeah, like or even having it like because is he still a 205 champion, the Escobar?
Well, the Cruiserweight Championship is now officially NXT. It's the NXT Cruiserweight Championship.
Is he the champion?
Yeah.
So? Okay.
So maybe they actually officially list it being Escobar and Jordan Devlin because he never lost the title.
Right.
Yeah, and he's defending it. He actually is holding the title on NXT UK. So I think they're just waiting for then when they can travel to then have
and
like
they can unify it or
who's the true cruiserweight champion. Yeah,
right. But then you can have Andrade like challenge for the North American Championship, and then
that's true.
Walking Wild and what he with the other guy.
Yeah, I don't know all their names. I feel bad.
It is
it's something. That guy.
Oh, I knew it too.
But I know what you mean. Having them be tag team champions, having Escobar be cruiserweight, and having Andrade be North American. That'd be pretty cool.
And then they can feud with the Undisputed Era at that point, right? Because they would have a juicy lineup of fellas. Raul Mendoza, Joaquin Wild, Santos Escobar, and Andrade versus Undisputed Era.
That'd be cool. Woo! And they say that it's hard to book WWE. Come on now. We do this. We do it weekly. Anyways, cool. Yeah. If there's of course, as always, if there's anyone that you want to see in a stable or people that you think should be a stable, please let us know on social media or in the comments of the podcast. But to close out the podcast, as always, every week we do a match recommendation. This week it is mine, and since we were talking about Batista, I figured might as well recommend one of my favorite Batista matches. Which it was right in the middle of like me being a huge fan in my teenage years. You know, it was right at that perfect ruthless aggression era. And so it's Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania 21, where Batista won his first world title. And that was the whole putting Triple H through the table at the contract signing, doing the thumbs. When he after he won the Royal Rumble, and that just like propelled Batista into main eventer, and then after that, after he won that, and it was the draft, and then Casino won the WWE title, and then he ended up on Raw, and they had both champions on Raw, and then JBL was like, well, obviously I should be the champion on SmackDown, and Teddy Long teased him all fucking episode on SmackDown. He's like, yeah, that's right. But no, actually, you're not the champion, JBL. Batista's coming to SmackDown. And he made his grand entrance, and it was awesome. And so...
Player?
So Batista versus Triple H. It's a really good match. But then also it was like the start of Batista's career, which was really cool.
His reign.
Yeah. So go watch that match. Of course, as always, we link to all of our match recommendations on our website, so you can go watch them there. But that will do it for us, Anthony, this episode. If you want to follow whatever else we do here at Unknown Error, you can do so by checking us out online on social media, by following at UE_films. You can also follow us individually, if you so please, on Twitter or Instagram. You can find me at Barton_Minute. You can follow Mr. Anthony Hall
at Hall and Jokes on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah. But that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next week. Please go watch some wrestling. Be safe out there. And we'll check you next time.